everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Conversation Station. This episode, we're going to be talking about digital ownership. We're going to talk about digital ownership and some kind of related things that I see just out in the world, and some posts that have went viral in the past couple of days. Now, I'm sure most of you know what digital ownership is. It's when you buy a video game, a book, a movie, and you buy it through like a streaming service or Fandango or something like that, where it digitally resides on whatever you have, your laptop, your tablet, whatever. And just in recent years, my personal frustrations with this whole tactic have really come in the form of the video game sector of that. And it's just to the extent of not trying to sound like an old person, but I can't even play a game of zombies unless I have, internet. Just the other day, our internet went down because, they're working on it somewhere in the area. So we didn't have internet for a few hours. Got home from work, wanted to play some games, and unfortunately Red Dead and Minecraft were really the only thing I could load up that I didn't need an internet connection for. I needed an internet connection to get onto obviously Fortnite, which I don't really play it that much anyway, but mainly I play Call of Duty Zombies. That's kind of my thing. And honestly, I don't even really play with people anymore. I just kind of get on there and hit a solo game, and I just play Liberty Falls over and over again because that's just kind of my comfort map. That's what I do. I play that for a few rounds till I'm good and I move on, But it sucks because not having, the internet, I wasn't able to play zombies. I wasn't able to just play a simple round with just me and, just play a game while not being connected to the internet. And I do remember a time where, back in the day, I would go over to my friend's house and, he didn't have Wi-Fi at all. And we just played zombies on, Black Ops, whatever. I don't even remember which one it was, but we just played all day, and it wasn't an issue that he didn't have internet. You just played offline and, no stats, no records and stuff like that. But I think a little tiny part of that is the ownership and the licensing and the fact that the games are completely, you're getting a digital game. And in order for the licensing to be there, you have to be connected to the internet. But it's just ridiculous because, you should still have the ability to play, offline versions of the game or even the campaign in an offline capacity. But that's just that whole ability has been taken away. And that is, where my personal grievance lie with the whole digital ownership. It just doesn't make sense. Obviously, I don't mind playing Red Dead and Minecraft, or mainly just Red Dead and riding around on my horse and shooting. But it would be nice to be able to play zombies offline. You're starting to have, more pages and people be aware that, physical media matters a lot more than having this, a constant streaming service, or even buying a movie through, whatever third party like Fandango or something like that. Not trying to name drop. It's just that's the one I usually buy my movies through. But I could see how, one day that, they could just make it not available due to whatever reason. I don't know. But I already paid the money. That's basically my movie. But again, I could have it taken away in whatever way because they decide so. So, you just see that, influx of people appreciating physical media like VHSs and DVDs. Me personally, I just bought, because I didn't want to pay for Netflix again. And the main thing I usually watch on there is The Umbrella Academy. So I just bought the entire series because I just figured that would be the best way to go. To get into different problems that feel similar and they're within the same kind of realm, but they're not exactly the same. So recently I saw a video that had went viral, a lady talking about she wanted to use her printer, and basically in order to use her printer, you can go watch the video for her full explanation, but she had to pay for a subscription in order to use her own printer in her own house. And in order to connect her printer to her laptop, basically there was just a lot of steps that required paywalls in order for her to use products that, since forever we've been able to use for free in our own house. And now because of this whole digital age and how everything is connected and now blocked by this paywall, you just see how absolutely insane that is. Now, is there a way to get the older version of stuff and go around that? Absolutely. But it's just insane that having the newest up-to-date stuff can honestly end up setting you back and actually completely inconvenience you in really shocking ways. Like I said, if you want to see more of that video, you could type in what I'm talking about and it'll come right up. Kind of in the similar-ish, but not exactly the same, a lady was talking about how she bought a brand new car. Been working really hard for it. The reason she bought this specific car is because she wanted the ability to push start the car from inside her house. And the whole reason she bought the car, it came with that feature. She picked that car, she got it. 2 years later, after using her push to start feature and getting real comfortable with it, being, enjoying it as much as she thought she would, there's a subscription fee comes up. And all of a sudden, she can't use her push to start. It turns out that she was on a free trial, 2-year free trial for her push to start. And every month after that is, I believe, like a $10 or $12 subscription fee. That's insane. That is insane. Now, maybe she missed the fine print. Maybe she didn't read something. Maybe it was in the, maybe it was in there. But that is still so insane. A feature that's already in the car that really takes it shouldn't take that much extra to make it work, to be that kind of feature on a car. And to have that be blocked by a paywall, again, it really does feel like the average American, the average person is being squeezed for every single dime they can be. And again, it's understandable when you go to the comments and you see the outrage and you see the people, being like, well, obviously there's ways around it, or you could just not use your push start. It's like, yeah, that's not the point though. We shouldn't have to be squeezed and be, basically priced out of really simple things. And because we don't want to pay an extra dollar, because we're already paying so much for everything else. Like, nobody is crazy for asking, why are we paying these extra paywalls? It's not. It's not a problem. It is a problem to have them, and it is a problem that it's not being addressed. But then you got to remember, these are companies. These aren't people. There are people behind those companies, but these companies don't care. Like, they reach out, they talk to people through their social media, profiles and whatnot, but at the end of the day, the ability to get these companies to change will be for people to stop supporting them, and that'll just never happen. Another small, digital ownership problem I had in my own home. One of my family members bought a digital, ebook on whatever website, through whatever medium. That book, I guess, became unavailable, and now that book's gone. No option for a refund, no option to, do anything or get a book in its place, nothing. The book's just gone, taken off the platform, and that money's gone, never to be seen again. Now, the question is just at what point does it start to become theft? You know what I mean? At what point do we, really start to get offended and it starts to feel, like almost like an attack, a financial attack on people? And I know that may be a little bit dramatic, but that at the end of the day, with all of the prices on everything going up, it genuinely feels like that when you're just put through these ridiculous paywalls and you're having things that you paid your hard-earned money for being taken straight from you. And you have no say. There's no recourse to get it back. There's nobody human to argue with for it. There's just a company. There's just a system that won't let you get anything back. Another type of story that is kind of separate from the two things that I just talked about, but it kind of encompasses the same thing. Recently, I've seen a story about a guy who, I'm not even going to mention the name because the name would mention problems, but the point is this guy, makes videos on the internet. He made a lot of money doing it, and he, for whatever reason, not exactly specified in his video, but he's getting investigated by the federal government, right? He wakes up one morning and he says he has, about $500,000 in his bank account. That's his savings that he's worked up doing videos and all that. It's frozen. It's gone. It's, he doesn't have access to it all of a sudden. Wakes up, he goes, must be a glitch. Swipes his phone, does the app, redoes it. All of a sudden, money's still not there. Money's still locked. So he calls the bank. The bank says, well, somebody's put a hole in it. We can't tell you what's going on. You're going to have to call, your lawyer. Basically, I don't know what happened. I don't remember exactly what happens, but he finds out that the federal government has essentially seized his money because he's being investigated by them. Now, for sure, if you're being investigated by the federal government, maybe you possibly did something wrong, so, let due process go. But the problem is what his lawyer told him is after this is all done, even if he's cleared, even if nothing comes of this investigation, he might still not get that money back. And the federal government there's no liability or anybody forcing them to give that money back. They just took it straight out of his account. All that digital money, gone, disappeared. It never exists now. It's somewhere else. Now, whether this will be resolved and this person will get their money back, fine. That's not the issue I'm trying to talk about. The issue is that digital access to somebody's money so quickly, and the fact that, I don't know, sometimes there's different charges and things taken out of my account, and I've had that issue before, you know, where I've had to call the bank and make sure charges are, you know, up to date, because certain things get taken out, and it just, even if it's like $10 here, $12 there, and it's like, I know I don't have any extra subscriptions, I know I'm kind of on top of my stuff, so there are just certain ways that little stuff's getting taken without anybody knowing, and that to me is what I'm saying is the issue. Just that access, that being able, and that's why the idea of like a cashless society kind of, you know, spooks me a little bit. I would never want to go fully cashless, you know, even though I don't believe it's a good idea to have a bunch of cash at your house. Obviously that's not the way to go, but somehow there's got to be some kind of meet in the middle where, you know, this technology doesn't have to be so scary, you know, but it is. It's definitely, you know, scary to see how much access technology gives, and access technology gives you to be stolen from. That's really the point of, you know, what I wanted to say in this video. And like I said, I know those 3 different things I talked about weren't really exactly related. It just all had to do within that digital, you know, that ability to take, and you can't, there's no, like I said, no recourse, no ability to really talk to anybody and get it back or reverse it. And my question is in the future, what can we do to prevent stuff like this from happening? And what can we do to hold the people that do make these, you know, wrongs accountable? Is there anything we can do? Because at the end of the day, you know, the American people are spending a lot of money, extra money, on a lot of different stuff, everything. And, you know, to be priced out of the small things around your house is just crazy. Will probably get fixed until people really, you know, en masse start not supporting companies or really start speaking out. That's you know, you have to hit them where it hurts in their pockets. And unfortunately, that people rarely come together and do things like that. You know, it just doesn't happen often enough, unfortunately. But until it does, you know, I think all types of companies will keep exploiting any type of thing that they can. I would like to know your thoughts. Do you think this is just a price to pay for the technological age, or do you think that there should be some type of accountability when it comes to digital theft and, you know, any type of invasion of the digital space within your personal area? I would like to know, you know, or am I just kind of overreacting? But I really do appreciate any time you spend watching my video. Thank you, and I hope to see you again.